I want to go ahead and break down 5 different journals that I'm actively using right now to manifest my dream life, because present tense scripting has absolutely worked for me in the past. I credit present tense scripting to the fact that I was able to manifest meeting and marrying my husband. I also used it to manifest multiple brand deals and PR packages for my Love Travel Beauty brand. I used present tense scripting to monetize Love Travel Beauty on the official website and on the social media platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. Present tense scripting has changed my life for the better, and I just cannot stop talking about it. I will never shut up about it. Before I met my husband, I didn't feel worthy of love. I felt unlovable. I felt ugly. I felt like I was doomed to be screwed over by men forever. I felt like I was a trash human who deserved to be abused. I had a horrible self-concept, and my relationships reflected that. I dated people who were manipulative, narcissistic. I dated people who really could not care less about me as a human because I had no self-esteem and no self-worth. After I found out about the law of attraction and started putting all of this into practice, and I really got serious about dousing myself in a bucket full of self-love, that's when I was able to meet my husband. I got to a point where I was so obsessed with myself. I was in the gym every day. I was making really good money as a writer. I was so obsessed with myself and everything that I knew that I brought to the table as a woman. When I met my husband, I knew this guy's lucky to have me. And in fact, I felt lucky to have him. And we were very equally yoked because we both knew how dope the other one was. And the crazy thing is that if I hadn't gone through this process to start healing my self-concept, I wouldn't have known how dope I was. And I probably would have repelled someone like my husband away, because my husband already had self-love. He already respected himself. He knew he was the when he walked into the room. He's actually really amazing. He's super tall, he's super handsome, he's super hardworking. He literally has everything going for him. So if he met me back in the day, how I used to act and how I used to feel about myself, he probably would have been repulsed. He probably would have been so turned off by me. He met me at a time in my life when I knew I was the too. When we met, we were both in such a great place with our self-esteem, our self-worth, and our self-concept. We were a perfect match. And I feel like journals like this are what really help. There are literal pages in here just dedicated to giving myself compliments. I love my legs. I love my I love my lips. I love how ambitious I am. I know I'm destined for greatness. I'm an amazing writer. I'm eloquent, articulate, well-spoken, grammatically correct. I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm considerate, I'm empathetic. I love that I'm a friendly, welcoming, social butterfly. I'm lovable. I'm so easy to love. These are things I once didn't believe about myself. I wrote these things down and they became truer and truer and truer to me. The Self-Love Rainbow Workbook, this one is so meaningful and it matters so much because our self-concept is everything when it comes to manifestation. There are way too many cases of people manifesting their relationship with their dream partner. And once they're in that relationship, they start self-sabotaging and feeling like they aren't really worthy and deserving of that partner. And so they do something to mess it up and that relationship ends up crashing and burning. There are so many instances of people winning the lottery or hitting a jackpot at a casino, but because they feel unworthy and undeserving of wealth and abundance and luxury, they go broke after. I know you've heard stories about people who go broke after winning the lottery. It's not really that uncommon. And that's because it's people attracting things that they are not aligned with. You have to be in alignment with high vibrational outcomes if you expect for them to stay in your life. Manifesting in general requires being in alignment with what you are trying to call into your life. So if you're practicing self-love, if you have self-respect, if you're healing your self-concept with a book like this, that's part of the process of feeling worthy and deserving. If your self-concept is in a bad place, which means you don't have self-respect, you don't have self-love, you don't feel worthy and deserving, if you don't feel good about who you are as a person, it is really difficult to manifest good things. And when you do manifest something that you really want, it will very likely just slip through your fingers if you don't have your self-concept in check. This journal is what helps you build your self-love, build your self-esteem, and feel worthy and deserving of your manifestations. I use this journal for playing out present tense scripting of my dream life, using present tense language or using the tense of completion. I'll explain. I want to give an example based on the time that I manifested a trip to New York City with my husband. I was in my journal saying, I'm so grateful that we enjoyed our wonderful, magical, lovely trip to New York City and that we got to watch a Broadway play and that we got to eat the most delicious New York pizza. I was in my journal constantly writing about this magical, blissful experience in New York City before my experience in New York City actually happened. I was also scripting in the tense of completion, which is where you write your manifestations as if they are a fond memory that you're reflecting on. I'm so grateful that we had such a lovely, wonderful, and unforgettable time in New York City and that we made so many memories together. So you're writing about it like it already happened. Either way works. It really just depends on what puts you deeper in the feeling. Because the reason present tense scripting is so powerful is because it helps you get into the feeling and the vibration and the excitement and the hype of what you're trying to call into your life. And there's something very powerful about putting pen to paper. Spelling is called spelling for a reason. It's like casting spells. I'm not talking about witchcraft, I'm talking about energy. When you spell things out, when you put pen to paper, you are giving it power. You are making it real. You're legitimizing it. Writing about my New York City trip before we had gone to New York City, I was writing about it as if it was already real, and that was bringing power to it, and it was bringing energy to it. In order to manifest, you actually have to get into the feeling, and you have to embody the actual excitement of your manifestation before it's real, and that is how manifestation works. And in true law of attraction fashion, everything fell perfectly in line for my husband and I to go on a trip to New York City. His time and availability at his job came together. His income and finances came together in a way that he was able to surprise me with accommodations to New York City. Everything just perfectly fell in line in true law of attraction form. Because one thing about the law of attraction is that when you're in alignment and when you're actually putting the law of attraction into practice, things fall in line in a way that would surprise you. You meet the right people at the right time. You walk into the right place at the right time. You open up a booking website at the right time when things are somehow discounted at an hour that they weren't discounted at a different hour. Things just happen in perfect alignment when you put this into practice. Most people are raw dogging life, and they have no idea that life can be so much smoother and so much more beautiful and so much easier if they were putting the law of attraction into practice, but they're just raw dogging life. But when you are in alignment and you're really scripting what you want your life to look like and how you want it to feel, the universe conspires on your behalf to bring it all together for you. Somehow things just work out. And that's what happened with our trip to New York City. When we were there, we took a sunset cruise on a ship to go see the Statue of Liberty. And that was my first time seeing it in real life. And it honestly brought tears to my eyes because it was so overwhelming and beautiful. We went to the official Museum of Ice Cream in New York City where we got unlimited samples of free ice cream. We watched Chicago the musical on Broadway, which was amazing because I showed my husband Chicago the movie before we went on the trip, and I knew ahead of time that I really wanted to see at least one Broadway play while we were there. We went on the Gossip Girl pedicab tour, which was awesome because we got to go see all the different places where Gossip Girl is filmed since it's filmed in New York City. And before this trip, I had shown my husband every single season of Gossip Girl. I convinced him to watch it with me because I told him this show is not just meant for girls to watch just because it's called Gossip Girl. It's literally so good. Just give it a chance. And he gave it a chance and he actually really liked it too. And so because Gossip Girl is a show that he and I both absolutely adore, going on that pedicab tour was so special. And the guy who was in charge of taking us on the pedicab tour was also a fan of the show. So he was chalking it up with us and we were all having a great conversation as we were checking out all the different sites where different episodes were filmed. We tried our first New York City nightclub. The New York City nightclub just didn't hold a candle to our favorite Las Vegas nightclubs, but I will also say we only went to one New York City nightclub, so I'd be happy to go back and give another club a chance. We went to the New York Botanical Garden to see all the blooms, and it was absolutely gorgeous. We went to a Mets baseball game since my husband is obsessed with all things related to sports, and the Mets actually became my favorite team that day. I grew up rooting for the Dodgers, but the Mets is now my favorite team. I loved the energy, I loved the crowd. It was just such a great game to watch. There was so much magic about New York City and about our trip in general. Las Vegas has my heart. I love Las Vegas to death, but New York City is in a close second at this point. And I'm gonna credit the dedication and focus I had in present tense scripting about that New York City trip to getting there. New York City was also on my vision board, so I was looking at visuals in New York City every day as well. So present tense scripting wasn't my only method, it was my main method, but I was also looking at the visual on my vision board. And in general, living a life of travel and exploration is a really big thing that I manifest, and I use a lot of different manifestation techniques. I'm not gonna go over all of the techniques that I do right now beyond scripting, but because I'm constantly manifesting a life of travel and a life of adventure, there are other manifestation methods that I was also doing in conjunction with the present tense scripting, but this is always the main thing that I do. I do stand with the belief that present tense scripting is the strongest, most powerful manifestation method, personally for me and for a lot of people in the world, because I'm not the only person who's had a lot of success with scripting out their dream life. There are thousands of success stories about this all over YouTube. Because of the power of present tense scripting and really calling things into your life using present tense language, I actually did get to enjoy one of the most magical experiences in New York City, and it quickly became my second favorite city in the world after Las Vegas. And the next journal that I'm going to go over is the Manuscripting Journal, which I actually received as a PR package for Love Travel Beauty, which is an answered manifestation, by the way, because I manifest PR packages and brand deals all the time, and I received this one as a PR package. This is a guided manifestation journal that has information about crystals, chakras. There's just so much that you can work with here, and there's so much information. I've already completely filled this out. It breaks down 3 months of your life where you're checking in daily. Because a lot of my manifestations are deeply personal to me, I'm not comfortable showing the actual pages on camera, but I will just explain what some of them talk about. In the daily check-ins, you talk about the things you're grateful for, the things you're open to receiving, your mantra or your affirmation of the day, 3 steps of inspired action that you're willing to take each day to get closer to your goal, and you write a letter to yourself every day that starts with the words, "I'm so happy and grateful that." That's how I start writing in the pages of my own journals that don't have any guided prompts, that I'm so happy and grateful for ... So the fact that this journal offers that type of prompt to start on a daily basis is what I absolutely love about it. The next one I'm going to talk about is this Tesla 369 journal. Nikola Tesla was a brilliant genius who was ahead of his time. There's a reason Elon Musk calls his cars Tesla. He was inspired by Nikola Tesla as well. Nikola Tesla is the inspiration behind the 369 method because he found power in the numbers 369. So the pages look like this. I'm going to go ahead and just explain it. What you're supposed to do is write your affirmation of what you're trying to call into your life 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening. If you are willing to check in with yourself throughout the day and continue checking back to fill in your 369 method throughout the day, this is a method that works for a lot of people to call in your manifestations. This is a journal I absolutely love and plan to invest more time into. Sometimes I get kind of busy throughout my day and I forget to check back in, but it all comes down to how much of a priority is it? Are you willing to set an alarm for it? I'm taking my current manifestation journey really seriously. Really get in there and write down what you're trying to call into your life 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times in the evening. Obviously, you do not need a guided journal to do this. You can do it on any notebook. You can do it on any plain sheet of paper, but it's kind of nice to have the guided prompts here guiding you along the way throughout your day. And additionally, it gives you space to talk about 3 things that you're grateful for, how you plan to get into the flow of a higher vibrational state for the day, and there are words of encouragement scattered throughout the pages as well. The next journal I'm going to talk about is The Secret Gratitude book by Rhonda Byrne. This book goes hand in hand with the actual book The Secret and the movie The Secret. This movie is what changed my life in 2020. I watched the movie for the first time in the pandemic. I didn't know about what manifestation was. I didn't know what the law of attraction was. I watched the movie, completely changed my life. I was at rock bottom and everything in my life changed. The movie is meant to be introductory. It's not meant to be the end all be all, but this journal is what comes along with it. This journal was another answered manifestation, by the way. I entered a random manifestation contest on Twitter. I was chosen and selected as the winner, and so they sent me this journal for free. So I immediately got into it. I'm not going to show the pages because I've completely filled this journal out from start to finish, but I'll just explain what it is. It is on one page, you are writing what you are grateful for now. A gratitude list of all the things that have already materialized in your life. Things that have already manifested. And on the other page, right next to it, you're going to write about the gratitude intentions that you have, the things that you are going to be grateful for when they do arrive. I find this very powerful because it's like, every single night, I was writing the things I'm grateful for now that I already have in my life next to the things that I'm grateful for soon that are on their way to me. And every night I was closing those things together and bringing the energy and the power of what already existed to what was about to exist soon. And so I felt there was a lot of power in that. One of the big manifestation focuses I had in this journal was meeting my husband because I hadn't met him yet when I was using this journal. So as you can imagine, I was using this journal late 2020 and early 2021 because I met my husband on June 1st, 2021. So I was in here writing, I'm so grateful to be in a happy and healthy relationship with my soulmate. We're married and we are so happy together. I'm grateful he's so tall and attractive and everything I've dreamed of. I'm grateful he also thinks of me as his dream girl. That's the kind of things I was writing. But on the side of the things I was grateful for now, I was grateful for the cocktail waitressing job I had. I was grateful for the car I was driving. I was grateful for the apartment I was living in. I was grateful for a birthday trip to Miami that I had taken for one of my girlfriends. Just a lot of gratitude for things that already existed in my life. One thing that Rhonda Byrne really preaches in the movie The Secret, in her book The Secret, and also in the front pages of this journal is how important it is to be grateful. If you are grateful for what you already have, that puts you in receiving mode. People who are already grateful for what they have are signaling to God and signaling to the universe that they are receptive and open to receiving more. If you're having a pity party and crossing your arms and pouting about how I don't have this, I don't have that, then you're signaling your state of lack. You're signaling to everyone that you are living in a state of lack. When you are living in a state of lack, it is really hard to manifest more things. So when you're living in a state of gratitude, it means that you are receptive to receiving more things. The energy and the power of this journal really comes down to the fact that I was hype and excited on one page, writing about all the things I already had. And that was raising my vibration as I got to the second page, writing about the things that I didn't have yet, but I was actively calling them in. And I was writing about them as if I already had them too. So it was matching the same tense and energy of the things I did already have. This journal is extremely powerful. The first few pages of this journal, I was talking about meeting my husband. Mind you, it took me about 5 months of dedicated energy and effort to manifest meeting my husband. This journal was part of that process. There was other journals I was using and other manifestation methods, but this journal was part of it. But it's so interesting because when I look through the pages, the first half of the journal was me talking about calling in my marriage on this side. And when I met my husband, he actually became part of my life and we started dating. Then I started talking about him on this side, talking about I'm so grateful for this relationship. I'm so grateful I'm in this relationship. It was already real at that point. And then I was able to start talking about other things I wanted to call in. So it was kind of cool seeing things shift from the side of I'm trying to call it in to suddenly seeing it on this side because I called it in. This is just a really powerful journal for me to look back on. And bonus journal is the one I'm just now starting because I found out about a new manifestation method that is completely new to me. It's called Rampage Affirmations, where you just rampage through your affirmations and you don't give your mind a chance to deny you. You don't give your mind a chance to give you any of those little doubt whispers, because a lot of the time when we try to manifest things, we have that little voice of doubt in the back of our mind that says, no, that's not going to happen. No, that's unrealistic. No, you don't really deserve that. Robotic Rampage Affirmations is where you are completely overriding the system. You are denying your brain a chance to give you those doubts. So I'm in this journal with the same affirmation. I have one goal in mind that I'm really focused on right now. So I'm only focused on one goal for this journal specifically. I have a lot of goals, but there's one that's at the top of my list. I don't want to say it, but I'm writing it over and over and over again in this journal with no distractions, to the point where my hand starts to ache and my brain starts to go a little bit numb. So that is me overriding the system and not even giving myself a chance to start feeding into any doubts. I'm not giving my brain a chance to start feeding into any insecurity. I am overriding the system, which is a very powerful manifestation method. It is called Rampage Affirmations. A lot of people just do it in their brain and they just think the same affirmation over and over and over again in their head. For me, I get distracted really easily, so it's kind of hard for me to just keep it in my brain. So writing it down over and over by putting pen to page is what helps keep me on track with my thought, because I have to connect the thought in my brain to the words on the page. So I'm writing the affirmation over and over again and filling out the pages. And I chose this journal size on purpose because it's so much space to cover. There is more space and lines to cover in this journal than this one in comparison. So I have so much space to cover with robotic rampaging here that when I sit down and dedicate time to robotically rampaging my affirmations, I have no distractions. There's nothing that can get in my way. I am just filling out line by line on these giant pages of the one main focus that I have. Obviously, there are other manifestations on my mind too, but the one that I'm writing in here is one that I really care about right now. I said I was gonna share 5 different journals or 5 different scripting methods. I actually shared 6 because I added that bonus. But you can do all of these things on a plain piece of paper. You don't have to buy any of these journals. But I will link all of these journals on Amazon for anyone who's interested in specifically using the ones that I've used. If you're kind of like me and you feel like you get easily distracted when you're trying to manifest things or visualize things in your mind, writing things down might be the answer. It might be just the ticket for you. And if it ever feels like homework, you shouldn't do it. But this is something that should feel exciting. This is something that should feel revitalizing. When you are scripting your dream life, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to light you up. It's literally supposed to set you on fire with excitement. There are many different ways you can do it. You can use plain journals. You can use guided journals with prompts. I'm just really happy to be able to share some of my insights and the journals that I personally love using. Thank you for watching.